we're about to launch a personalised wellness coaching where we're really helping people with a base program called PH360. It's a program that really helps people find out the reasons why that they've gotten stuck in some area or another, an area that they may not have considered in the past. Primarily, this is all through assistance with coaching. In terms of coaching, I started way back. 1994 was when I first started coaching, while I was working with athletes when I was kayaking for Australia. Then after a number of years of coaching athletes through 94 to 2003, I then got into rehabilitation. Well, I started looking at coaching in other areas. From that, I moved into outdoor group training and doing coaching kind of live with people, working outdoors in gyms. I did that for about 14 odd years. But when we had the recent pandemic hit, we started pushing that more onto online. So I've had a lot of coaching experience over a long period of time. And through that whole period, I had, you're working with people. I'm a student of life. People would say, oh, Mick, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Have you tried this before? So people would always bring things to you to review over a period of time. And I always found that some things would work well for some people, but not for others. And it always left you kind of scratching the head going, well, why is this working so well here and not there? One of the things that it wasn't actually a client, it was another coach. Hey, Mick, you have to have a look at this. Go do this course. It's with PH360. I've done the course a number of times because there's so much science to cover that you really need more time to take it in. And it was great to see it, being presented at different times. But it's something that we've been working with and has made such a difference. We ran a detox recently, and every single person in that program achieved some great result, some great goals. So that's kind of where we've been coming from recently, Mel.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, you definitely have that history there with coaching and with helping people, and which is fantastic and something that, I love to do as well. So I can totally relate with you there. So something I wanted to touch on today, but before I get into you asking this about Michael, is more whoever's, watching, whether you're watching the live or watching the replay, I just want you to just take a moment to just think back to when you found the perfect way for you to eat and the perfect way for you to exercise, and that, you were like, I've found it, this is going to work, and that it lasted, you had these long-term results. And, for some people, that could be something that they have discovered, which is absolutely fantastic. But for the majority of people, it's something they haven't, and that they're still on this kind of, roller coaster ride of searching, of getting excited, trying new things, and it doesn't work, or they fall off the wagon, or they get to this plateau, they reach a certain level, and then they're really struggling to sort of, maybe feel as healthy as they want, or shift a few kg, or that kind of thing. And so for those of you watching, I just want you to think about, if you haven't found what's really right for you, what it would feel like if you did find what really worked for you, and that you could stop searching and stop trying new things, and you had something that you knew was going to last you for life. Like, how incredible that would feel. And, if you're watching live and you just want to put in the chat, the feelings that would come out around it, which probably be things like just freedom and feeling balanced, and just kind of having this great outline to follow. I mean, so Michael, have you had people that have, come to you like that, just kind of gone, I've tried this diet and this exercise and this and that, and nothing's working, or, I get frustrated and I give up and then I try something else? Have you had a few clients like that coming to you with those frustrations?
Yeah, definitely. There's so much misinformation out there that people try this and that and really struggle with the results. But look, I want to share a quick little story about Gabby, which isn't, of course, her real name, because we're going to talk about a couple of things. But Gabby, she grew up overseas. So culturally, what she learned growing up was very different. Over time, she just put on more and more and more and more weight. she went very pear-shaped, really put on in a way that didn't look so good. Compounding that, she also had some medical conditions, which made things even harder. And there's so many people that have one thing or another that really makes it challenging. But to make that worse, kind of pushed further and further along in terms of age. And once we pass 30, things get a little bit harder, a little bit harder, a little bit harder. Yeah, just a tiny bit here and there. But once you're in 40s, 50s, it gets even harder again. So with those three things combined, she was really at a place that was exceptionally challenging for her. And people get to the point where they've tried so many things, they just kind of give up in a way. Yeah. So there's certainly a lot of people like that. Yeah, and that's both for girls and guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And the age factor is such a big part of it as well. Like, the fact that you could eat 3 pies and not put on a kg when you were in your 20s, suddenly you just look at a pie when you're in your 40s and suddenly whacking it on. And the hormones and all sorts of those sides come into it as well. And I mean, why do you think that, outside of the world of PH360, people are struggling to find what's so right for them, because everyone out there saying their way is right, aren't they?
Definitely. Look, the older we get, the deeper and more ingrained our habits are. Every thought that we have, if we think it enough, we act on it. And then once we start taking some actions, eventually that becomes a pattern. We do it for long enough that, those patterns become habits. And we live on habits and routines because they make things efficient and effective and easy. It's just what we know, so that's what we do. And people become so ingrained with those habits, if they're not set up right at the very start, then they become a significant issue right through our entire life. If you compound that with the easy path that society is serving up to us of this buy now, instant gratification, here's all this convenient food, this is how easy it is, have all this time that we want to spend over here when we're not having that family time, that sit down, that good meal prep anymore. Those things make it challenging as well. But you compound that by $1 billion advertising industry that's marketing to us all the time on fast foods, new fads, this, that. We're constantly bombarded by all these sources in magazines, newspapers, advertising. So we're always being distracted, with all this information. And, we live in the information era. And a lot of that is, for some health types or body types, it's misinformation. It's information that's not going to work for them. For some people, it may work really well, but they don't know what that key is, that magical skeleton key that's going to fit the lock that will open all the doors for them. So, with all that going on, it creates a lot of skepticism, definitely.
I think people get quite drawn into, like I mentioned before, the shiny new thing, like, oh, my friend tried this, I've got to try it, or this really worked well for my work colleague or whatever, I'm going to give it a go. And people get that sort of thrill and excitement of trying something and thinking they're going to get all these results. And then after a while, just find that it's just not working for them. So I think that's a big factor of it as well. Just sort of that thrill of something new.
Our friends have a massive influence in our life. They're in our inner circle. So they're a strong authority in our life. And when they have a result doing something, they're like, oh, you've got to try this. So invariably, we trust them. They're really close. So we say, yeah, sure, I'll give that a try. If they have a very similar body type to you, then you may get a result with that. If they're a completely different type of body, then it may not work for you at all, unless the program has variations in it that tailor make it to that, to the individual. Yeah.
And so with that, I mentioned before almost that plateau thing as well. I will have people come to me going, I'm eating really well and I'm going to the gym and I'm just doing, working so hard and I just can't seem to get to where I want to get to? Like, yeah, what's your kind of take on that, and what's holding them back? Well, not holding them back,
Melissa.
holding them back from achieving the results. Yeah.
Yeah, look, even as simple as timing can make a massive difference. We have our work hours that kind of define our adult lives. And then we may have some travel on top of that. And then everything else in our life tries to get squeezed into that time before and after. So there are a lot of people who are hitting the gym at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning, and it's completely the wrong time for them. Yeah, the body's not ready for that stress. Like, yes, we need some stress to push us outside our comfort zone to get a training adaptation, but it needs to be at the right time. Mm-hmm. So training first thing in the morning can be completely wrong for some people. For others, it can be spot on. But we need to know which people are, should be at the right times. For some, training in the afternoon is absolutely fantastic. It's the best time of the day for them to do it. But at the same time, that could be for their resistance-based training. Their cardiovascular training could be better done in the morning. And it's knowing those subtle differences that if you just do exactly what you're doing, but at the right times of day, and that can be with the eating as well. We've all heard, breakfast for a king, lunch for a prince, dinner for a pauper. That suits some health types really, really well. And that's what the mainstream fitness industry has been built around, because that's the certain health type that works really well with that. But at the same point, some people, they could even skip breakfast. Like, they've got the most developed digestive system, more so than anyone else. And they can skip breakfast, have a late lunch, like 2 o'clock, and then have a slightly later dinner as well, because they're night owls and their energy comes later in the day. But it's knowing those differences and being able to, kind of have that turnkey information. Information really is key.
Yeah, it is quite amazing with, that timing and that chronobiology. Like, I've definitely experienced with some of my clients, like, even if they're not majorly changing a lot of what they're eating, but they're changing the timing of how they're eating. So I had one woman who was getting up at 5 a.m., was eating lots of small meals throughout the day and was struggling to lose weight. So she was getting up at 5 a.m. and doing exercise. And then, when I discovered her body type, and I said, well, could we just try and move the exercise to later in the day around this time? And could we make it, 2 to 3 meals a day instead of lots of these small meals? She was resistant at first. She was like, but that's when I exercise, that's when I want to do it. I'm like, I know, but let's just do a bit of a science experiment on yourself and just see if we can change some things. And she was amazed. She could not believe. She was like, I have so much energy. I'm sleeping so much better now that I'm exercising later, whereas a lot of people get told do it in the morning. And going from eating all those small snacky meals during the day and making that they were meals suited to her body type, like around 2 to 3 times a day. The weight came off. It was incredible. Absolutely amazing. So what did you have with your client that came to you? Was it Gabby or Abby you were talking about?
Yeah. So with Gabby, when she understood her health type, she's a diplomat, so it's very different from what she was doing in the past. And we started looking at, diplomats need to have a lot of salad. And culturally, she was having a lot of rice, a lot of curries. The timing that she was eating, she'd been brought up on having breakfast. She lived in an industry that, demanded her to start her working life early. So, it really didn't suit her body or health type at all. So when we took her to, hey, look, I want you to slow down. I want you to start later in your day. I want you to have a very light breakfast and make it way later. And let's start getting all these salads happening. And then, suddenly with the new education around that, and there was some pushback on habits and routines and what she was deeply ingrained. But with some consistent coaching where we're catching up frequently, it gave her the accountability to keep pushing forward. And all we needed was enough momentum for her to feel the change starting to happen. And then suddenly those habits went, okay, that doesn't seem as strong anymore. I can go in this new direction because I feel the change happening.
Yeah.
And that's all we really need people to have, is to start to feel some kind of change, and suddenly they've got this momentum to keep going. So yeah, look, she's lost a lot of weight now. She's doing a lot more activity that she loves and enjoys. There's time where she's getting outdoors in nature, where place is massive for her. You know, she never really understood that before, to be out somewhere and, you know, be enjoying time outside, you know, getting fresh air, getting sunlight, having wide open spaces, which living in a city was, you know, she's in a unit. So, you know, for Gabby to be able to get outside and go and do something different is vitally important for her, definitely.
So it sounds, yeah, like it's with the whole thing of like, so many people get so focused on, you know, it's food and it's exercise and that's it. And here you are talking about, for her body type, it was nature, you know, place was a massive thing, which is something that doesn't come into many programs that people do. You know, it's so just food, exercise focused. And yeah, what are some other factors that we need to be looking at when it comes to health and wellness for a particular body type?
Sure. Look, the 6 main areas that we love to work in. So, you know, food and exercise, definitely they're in there, but they're not always the most important. But also mind, our mindfulness, our thinking, what our mind's focusing on is another massive factor. You know, it's a really important area. Again, more so for some health types than it is for others. Then we've also got our place that I was just talking about, and you know, your living space at home, your working space, you know, where you go to play and enjoy time, the place that you go to as a go-to for catch-ups with friends. Like, all those places are really important and can have a big effect on your health and wellness, more so for some people than for others. But then we've also got our genius, our talents. If someone's in a job where, you know, they can use their genius every day, then it doesn't seem like work. It's fun. They can thrive. They can get in a state of flow where things just happen for them. And it can be such a great, you know, abundance of energy that comes out of that. If that's not right and someone's not using their talents and their personal genius, then they can really struggle and things seem harder. It definitely feels like work. The energy's not there. It doesn't come as easily, and it can hold them back, and it can give them a lot of stress. And that stress, if it's constant, can just really, you know, be a challenge for them hormonally and can create a lot of problems. Then we've also got social. You know, social is vitally important to some health types, more so than others. We can all have improvements in our health and wellness if we consider our social aspects, but it's something that, yeah, when people start, I've got to lose weight. So, well, we've got to get to the gym. I've got to work on my nutrition. No one really says, hey, whoa, what are you doing socially? Yeah, who are you sitting down and having mealtime with? Who are you going out and having fun with? How are you engaging with people, or how are you not engaging people with people? Are you taking time out for yourself to regain your own energy, which is very important for some? You know, or, you know, what's your tribe doing? You know, if you look at your friends, your family, your work group, if you consider them part of your family, which some health types do, you know, that is absolutely critically important. If someone's having an issue in those areas, you know, it can be very difficult for someone to lose weight until they free that area up. If no one's ever told them to think about it, it's like, well, I just don't know what I don't know.
And it's so funny when you say that, because I know I've had friends do this, be like, no, I'm not coming out to lunch, I'm not going to this and that because I'm trying to lose weight and I don't want to be confronted by the food that's going to tempt me and undo all my hard work. And when now knowing what I know, it's like, you need to be with people and eating with people, and we can support you. You've just got to say, this is what you're doing and we're here for you, you know, but they isolate themselves, which makes things even worse, because then they end up not treating themselves so great, or grabbing something to eat that they shouldn't have, or whatever, just to soothe themselves, you know. So yeah, the social side is massive. Yeah. Was that all 6?
Unlike with, did I get to all 6?
I think so.
Our fitness, our nutrition, our mind, social, talents, and oh my God, have I forgotten one?
Never mind. You'll pass the test.
No. I'm pretty sure I went through all this. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, and when you're talking about your health types, for those that are on my page and that I've been talking about body types and that for a little while, and you know, how we're all so different, you know, and it's and what's so amazing with PH360, because I'll get you to start talking about the group program, is the coaches that do PH360 have all come from their own specialties. Like there's nutritionists, there's doctors, there's personal trainers, there's health coaches, there's chiropractors, physiotherapists, naturopaths, all sorts of people with these amazing backgrounds and, you know, rocking their business. And then they go and discover PH360 and they're just like, wow, this is like next level. So you have all these amazing qualified people coming in and studying it and using it in their, you know, their own environment, their own business or whatever, because it just is this kind of next level world, isn't it? It's quite amazing when you discover it, when you do it. So can you, just tell us a little bit about, because Michael's the head dude running the group program, which I've been talking a little bit about this week on my group on my page. Can you just give us a bit more information about it and the special, the big major special that ends today?
Sure.
And when it starts and all that. So go for gold.
Yeah. So look, any one health coach can go through and help someone improve their life, and they can have all the knowledge and the skill, and they can start delivering it. And if someone, you know, they can take someone from being stuck and not being able to get somewhere and start moving forward, which is absolutely amazing. But when I was looking at building the business around PH360 and health coaching, there's so much scientific information there through the 15 layers of science that PH360 looks at. And between the 6 health types, you've got ones that are, you know, kind of polar opposite. And I looked at it and went, look, the person who can absolute best help someone is someone of the same health type. And not more so than just the same health type. I need someone who's a coach who understands all the science, who's coaching someone in the same health type. So that, you know, it's someone who's been on the same path, on the journey, who's had the same struggles that the client has, and they've been able to overcome those and get a fantastic result. I'm like, that is a really powerful way to do coaching. Sure, that same coach can go and help other people and everything else. But in terms of putting together a group program that I wanted to get going at a time when, you know, we've social distanced and we've been stepping away from everyone and being at home so much more and changing up our patterns and our work environment and everything else. I was like, look, the need is really there. We really need to reach out to people, and, you know, PH360 has coaches all over the world, but it's still, compared to some of the other industries, although their science predates practically everything that's out there commercially available at the moment, it's not a household name. And we need to get people in front of these coaches. So look, if we do it online and we've got coaches from New Zealand, Australia, and around the world, then, you know, we can have our reach can really, you know, get out there and help people. So I put together this team, and, you know, we've got, you know, kind of 6 to 12 kind of core coaches of every health type. So, and we've got, even within the group, you know, we start talking about all the different professionals. We've got nurses, nutritionists, naturopath, exercise physiologists, trainers, the skill base there with, you know, the whole food chefs are in there, the skill base there to be able to, you know, not just coach on problems, but, you know, have people who deal with that, who have been dealing with that their whole life, and they've got a lot of education and experience around that area. It is a massive skill base that we have together for helping people. So, you know, and even within that group, if we don't have the answers, we've got access to so many other coaches around the world that have dealt with a personal experience with someone who has that illness or an injury or a complication that they've gone through and dealt with at a personal level, that are happy to share their experience with us to be able to help people even more. So when someone's had a problem in the past, having someone who's experienced that problem themselves, that knows how to get across that, the changes to make with their nutrition, their fitness, their social, how to change their mindset, how to adjust their place, how to work on their talents, just with small little changes across the board, suddenly it unlocks the key. Things happen and the weight starts falling away. Their energy goes through the roof, their vibrance, their energy, it all starts to happen for them. And the people around them just can't help but see the change. The flow-on effect in a family, for a mother, a father, to the kids, how that impacts generations moving forward is going to be absolutely fantastic. And it can happen at any age. Detox we did recently, we had a lot of adults in there. We had some young, some older. There was a couple there who did it together, and the kids were skeptical. And they're like, "What are you doing, Mum, Dad?" They've never done a detox before in their life. They're like, "Look, we want to make a change. We're really kind of desperate around this situation." And they had one of the biggest results between the two of them. And even without telling people, they'd be the market. People would be coming up to them. They go like, "What are you guys doing? You look so different." And it was an amazing result.
Yeah, that's fantastic, wasn't it? It's always great when couples get on board, and they're both just there supporting each other. And even if they're completely different body types, and they can just, be there for each other, is absolutely fantastic. It really is. It's like a switch comes on. I did a video the other day talking on my group, just saying, someone had said to me, "How do you keep up being healthy?" And I said, "I never want to go back to feeling how I used to feel. That's what keeps me going." And I said, it's like I didn't realize I could feel this good with all these health issues disappearing, but you don't know it until you're doing it, and until it happens. And it's just was like, I don't want to go back to that. I want to stay feeling how I do now, and it's like that switch turns on and you're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. And and I suppose, and that's, where it's just coming back to the beginning of when I was talking about, people still searching, still trying to find something that's going to last long term and give them the results, and is going to help them if they've reached that plateau stage to just go to the next level, to where they deserve to sort of go. And I think that's where Power 360 and the coaching around it, and that it's just the whole lifestyle factor. It's not just food and exercise, really makes just such a profound difference for so many people out there. It's incredible. So group coaching, so it's starting 23rd of March. I'm going to put a link in below or above, or wherever it goes on this video. I never know as I'm doing on how to join. But the special, the big special, there'll be a few more coming up, but that ends today. So you just want to tell us a bit about that, Michael, the VIP coaching special? Yeah,
sure. Look, we're launching on Tuesday, the 23rd of March, which is kind of Tuesday week from now. Tonight, kind of midnight, we have a special running through, which is a joining special. So everyone who joins at the moment, you can get a one-on-one session with one of the coaches to be able to get a good start into the program. We've got just that one-on-one time to go through and, first of all, to find out your health type, but to understand not just why you want to do, to lose some weight, understanding what's the feeling driving behind that. Because sometimes we have a little bit of motivation, and a little bit of motivation will move you a certain distance. But when you truly understand what the core driver inside of you is, anything is possible. And when you plug that into the right information, and you have the accountability of a coaching group around you, and you just start, it's like you start off in the wheelchair if you need to, as you're gaining the information and getting some momentum, and then you're up and you're onto the crutches, and with a little bit of accountability, but you're walking on your own, and eventually you can just throw those away, and you're on path, you've got your momentum, you know everything that you need to know. And because it's not a meal replacement or a powder or a substitute, we're talking about whole real foods, lifestyle changes, education around mindset and everything else. Like, these are things that we can do long-term, without, having something that we have to rely on. It's a fundamental shift that we can carry through our entire life. And it just becomes a way of life. So, but it's just being brave enough to try something new. We understand for some people, we are asking you to try something new that you haven't done before. But look, it's a short time frame. When we did our detox, it's 10 days. People had an amazing change in that time. But it was long enough for them to feel the difference. People who have done that detox, I still catch up personally with some of those clients, and they've lost more weight post-detox than they did during the detox. And it's like, Mick, this is so great.
Yeah.
And they can't help but get excited about it, which is wonderful.
Yeah. And another thing is, just to talk also about what's so amazing about once you find out your body type is the genes and the epigenetic factor. Like, it's catered so you won't have those unhealthy genes, say from your parents or grandparents, some disease or something that they got switching on in you. Like, this profile is amazing because it's based around keeping you living in the strength of your genes instead of going the wrong way.
So anyone who's new to epigenetics, which is an area of science, we're studying the body's current or the phenotype, its current gene expression, how it looks right now. Our genes are our blueprint, and it's how our body was originally built. But any building that's been built ages over time, and it changes. Some roofing tiles fall off, some mortar gets a little loose, the foundations might crack a little bit. So our current gene expression, our phenotype, how our body looks right now is very important. So that's where we start, and we look at we do a full measure up to get a sense of where it's at. We do a lot of personal questions. We do a lot of family questions, how we grew up, and all that changes and personalizes our food, our hints and tips in our how to develop mind, social, our talents, how we're changing all those. But the entire thing is personalized. And it's not personalized just in the moment. Every time we remeasure, our body's changed a little bit. The seasons change. What foods are going to be better for us, and how we should be preparing them change as well. That's one of the great things. It's not an answer just in the moment, because things in the moment, in the past may have worked for us, and then they stop working or we plateau. This constantly evolves every time we change our inputs. And when we change our goals, it changes too, which is just absolutely amazing. Like, from time to time, some people say, look, can you just give us the answer about what we need to do right now? And yes, we have that. We can certainly help with that. But we also have something that evolves and helps them to keep growing and changing over time as well. So it makes an absolutely huge difference. Having the coaches there to support people to do that change is absolutely essential. Doing it in a group, we've taken it from something that could cost someone thousands of dollars to make a big change in their life, to something that's so cost effective that it's on par with a gym membership, but you get so much more out of it. It's absolutely incredible.
And there's the payment option as well, which people will say, put the link, you can go and look at all that side as well. If you don't want to do the full payment, there's the payment option as well. But one more thing I was just going to say as we're wrapping up is something that I really love about the profile and that how it's ever changing is that if you ever have a moment where you fall off, which we all do. I put it on my page at Christmas time. We went away camping and I was like, oh my God, I was having gins every night. I was having way too much ice cream. There was takeaways. I was not Miss Health Nutrition person at all. But what was great was when I got back home, I was like, I just get back on board with PH 360 again. Like I didn't have to go searching or trying or finding something or asking people what worked for them. I'm like, I know what to do because it's based on my body type, and get back on board and go again. And it's just almost this really nice, almost a feeling of security, and that I always know for the rest of my life what I have to do. it's just there for me.
Mel, I put it to you that over Christmas time, when you had that extra social time and like there was a lot of time with family, a lot of time with friends, you're not completely leaving your PH360 profile. You're focused in another area there where the socialization was a huge thing for us. When we come together at Christmas, we have a lot of time with friends and family and winding up things with work colleagues. It's some really, really important social interaction there, which can be tremendously important. Sure, we might have some based on traditions, the foods, how we do that social time can be challenging. Depending on the group of people who you remake your inner circle with, you can change that. I had to catch up with a group of fitness trainers, and we had a lot of salad options available on, and we had on a boat cruise on Sydney Harbour, and we're sitting in the cove looking at the sunset going down over the city, the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And I didn't have any alcohol. A couple of people on the boat did, but it was completely different to how some other people had their work function. But even further than that, and this is totally true for yourself, if you're in a really great healthy condition and you've been living a relatively focused year, your health and fitness is way at the top here. If you have a week or a month where you dip just a little bit, you're still well above the curve. Where it's absolutely essential, especially as we push further into age. If you hit 60, 70 and you've got an extra 40 kilos on your body frame that's stressing your knees, back, ankles, everything, that's a really challenging, difficult, dangerous position. Because if someone has dislocates a hip or they have a knee operation and they've already got all that extra weight on, they're in a really compromised position where their recovery is going to be really challenged. So look, this is one of the absolute benefits of having, fantastic health and wellness, is that you're at altitude. You're well ahead of the curve. If you have an accident, an injury, you have a setback of some sort, you have some social time that goes a little crazy, that's totally fine because we're still ahead of the curve and we know what to do when if we do have some kind of disruption.
Yeah, that is great to know that that's what you go back to. One of these moments that even healthy people do sometimes.
Sure.
Okay, well, not sure if anyone's got any questions. I'm even just fingers crossing.
So while you're checking for any questions are on Facebook there, Mel, I'll just give a quick wrap up on, look, team, if you are watching this video, now is a really great time to take action. And by taking action, it can be as simple as reaching out to one of the coaches or someone who shared this video with you. Mel's going to pop a link in the comment section on her Facebook page. So there'll be some links there to go and find out more information. Some health types really need a lot of information to be able to help them make a decision. On our website, personalisedwellnesscoaching.com or .com.au, there's a lot of information on that page that kind of leads you through and gives you more and more and answers some questions. The biggest question is, will this work for me? I can tell you in the past that PH360 works across all the health types because it genetically tailors the program for you. But the only way for you to know that for sure is to give it a try. Take it for a period of time, start making some small changes. If you don't like it, you can always go back to your old habits and you can keep searching for something else that's going to work for you. But we can go so far as to say that PH360 on their annual subscriptions, they actually have a money back guarantee on that because they're so certain that that'll work for you. If you make the changes, things will happen. Mel, did you have any questions come out on the Facebook page?
No, we're all good. It's probably a bit of a funny time to be doing a live because it's after everyone's lunchtime, but that's all
Sure,
fine.
that's okay.
People can, if you're watching this as a replay, you can put things in the comments or even message me and I can help you out there. Awesome. So I'll put the link as well with information about how to have a look at the group program. I mean, this is also a really fantastic way, you know, if you are a little bit unsure, because it's a group program, as Michael mentioned, the cost is lower than if you were doing one-on-one coaching with myself or any of the other coaches out there. So this is a really great entry offer. And again, you get a team of coaches, but you get a team of people doing the program with you, which is absolutely fantastic as well. So yeah, give it a go. Anyway, Michael, thank you so much for coming along and having a chat to us today and giving us your wonderful insight and especially that information on, you know, that how common it is for people to get stuck or to reach that plateau and that there is a way out of it. And it's not just to carry on searching, it's to actually go for something which is personalized health and based on you in particular, which is what we all love about PH360. But anyway, we will see you again next time and hopefully we'll see some of you on the group program.
No
okay.
problem. Have a great day. See you, everyone.
See ya. Okay, I think that's stop.